effectively to ensure that the situation was managed and managed effectively. Now, a task force that was set up by the government to look at the issues surrounding the shortage has been working very hard to arrive at a conclusion. And today, it is an opportune moment for us to come and talk to the Gambian people through members of the media here present so that people can know exactly what happened, what government through partners in the private sector has done, and also what steps we are now putting in place to ensure that we don't have a repeat of the situation that we all witnessed recently. Now, the press conference or the briefing will be like this. The Honorable Minister of Trade, who actually led the government initiative as a task force to look at the issue and also to look into the whole affair, will read a press statement, and following that we'll have just 4 questions, knowing fully that this matter is still under police investigation, but as a responsible government, it is only right that we come out with a statement and brief the whole country about what the situation is right now. We know that just to preempt some of the issues that may want to come up here, remember that in order not to do anything that may be seen as jeopardizing the ongoing investigation, we want to call on the media to be aware that the matter is still under investigation, and there are certain issues that we definitely cannot answer on list. It will not only jeopardize the investigation, but it can also bring in issues even with the outcome of the investigation. So on that note, Honorable Minister of Trade, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, my colleague, honorable ministers. Good afternoon, the press, ladies and gentlemen. I read to you a press statement on the recent fuel outage or shortage that happened in the country recently. And the background is that during the week ending 31st of October 2021, the country witnessed shortage of gas oil at majority of the gas stations across the country, in contrast to the reports received from the Gampetolreum for that week, dated 25th of October 2021, indicating the stock balance of 6,711,514 metric tons, which would have lasted 8 days for the national demand. This prompted a stock verification visit on the 31st of October to the depot, comprising of the State Security, PURA, Ministry of Trade, major oil marketing companies, and the management of the depot, mainly the general manager and the operations manager. It was found that tanks D1 to D4 were all empty, while tank D5 contained 50,000 liters of mixed diesel and water. The total capacity for the 5 tanks is 20,000 metric tons. A task force. The timing of the stockout could not have come at a worse time and resulted in adverse economic and social impact nationwide. This prompted His Excellency the President, Adama Barrow, to establish a multi-sector task force comprising of PURA, Gampetolreum Board, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Petroleum, and Security Services on the 1st of November to review the matter and recommend courses of action to redress the matter in its entirety. The task force began work immediately with the major oil marketing companies, namely OMCs, to find solutions to restore supply in order to ensure fuel availability. This involved the lifting of fuel from Senegal to the Gambia overland in order to address the fuel shortage. In this regard, we extend our gratitude to the presidents of the two countries and the customs authorities thereof who assisted in expeditiously dispatching the oil tankers. This stopgap measure reduced the shortage a bit, while the GNPC, Gambian National Petroleum Corporation, through the support of the Petroleum Ministry, work hard to place orders that will meet national demand for the short to medium term. Investigations. The team commenced investigations to determine the cause of the shortage. These took the form of discussions with the Gampetolreum management, Pura management, and the relevant stakeholders. Gampetolreum management have not provided any credible documentary evidence to explain the shortage. And as a result, this prompted a visit to the depot in order to review the information in their IT systems and understand better the situation. It was found that the software acquired to manage the depot operation is not being used, and rather the depot operations were maintained on Excel file. Also, management did not have a single account for each trader or OMC, but transactions were maintained in Excel sheets according to vessels that deliver the fuel stock. Transaction files were, the hard copy of the transaction files were locked in the GM office, General Manager's office. This prompted the task force to use circularization, which is to write to the OMCs and traders to request their details of transactions with the Gampetolreum depot. There were three major international oil traders, namely Trafigura, PSTV, and ADAX, whose stock were held at the depot as a bonded warehouse. And responses were received from 8 OMCs, namely Castul, Petrogas, Feed, Jar Oil, NP, Afri Oil, GNPC, and GACH. The compilations of the responses received indicated that 9,643 metric tons of PMS, or otherwise called petrol, 16,543 metric tons of diesel, 3,445 metric tons of jet fuel, 17,793 metric tons of HFO belong to international traders, and 1,111 metric tons of PMS, 3,711 metric tons of diesel, and 684 metric tons of jet fuel belong to the local OMCs. After accounting for the closing stock, 9,843 metric tons of petrol, 20,246 metric tons of diesel, 17,793 metric tons of HFO belong to the traders and the local OMCs net. As can be seen, the majority of the stock belong to the international traders. Two OMCs have negative balances. By that, it is meant they took stock from the depot that does not belong to them, of 2,016 metric tons of petrol, 5,249 metric tons of diesel. These are the OMCs that responded to the circularization request. Outcome. International traders were concerned about the disappearance of their stock, and a number of them flew from Europe to meet the task force. This has big economic implications for the country, as failure to settle them will have negative economic impact. Gampetolreum and the task force assured them that they will be paid their stock, and the conditions to fulfill this are being discussed. Following the initial assessment, it was discovered that more than half of the fuel stock that should have been at the depot could not be accounted for. This prompted an official investigation into the matter, which is ongoing. The focus of the ongoing investigation by the security forces is to determine to whom and under what conditions the missing stocks were allocated. Since this whole saga began, the task force has discovered some questionable management practices which have given rise to the need for a further review of the standard operating procedures of the depot. Next step. Gampetolreum is a private limited liability company, but the government will ensure that the needed guarantees for the traders are met by the Gampetolreum so that confidence can be restored for the oil supplies by these traders to resume. The Gampetolreum board has taken the needed steps, including reporting the matter to the police for the needed actions to be taken to account for the unaccounted or missing stock. As it is, that is, as we speak, the general manager of Gampetolreum and the operations manager are helping the police in their investigation. And the government of the Gambia keenly awaits the outcome of the investigation and assure the general public that needed actions will be taken according to law. The public is hereby assured that all measures will be taken to ensure smooth and uninterrupted supply of petroleum products. Thank you for your attention.
Um, thank you, Honorable Minister of Trade. As you have heard, the matter is still under investigation. The police have already started the investigations, and they are questioning two of the senior officials of Gampetolreum. But that notwithstanding, the government of the Gambia is assuring the general public that measures have been taken to ensure that this kind of situation is averted. So, as we said, I mean, we want to be very careful with certain issues since the matter is under investigation, and you all know what that means. You don't want to jeopardize an ongoing investigation, but we'll allow the media to ask some few questions, and then, you know, we will close the press briefing. Yes, if you want to ask the question, please identify yourself, the media that you represent, and then, you ask your question. Please, let's avoid asking multiple questions so that the answers can be given. Thank you. Yes, madam.
Hi, my name is Joy Mama, and I'm from Future Production Multimedia. My question is, it was pretty interesting when you were discussing about the outcome, about the international traders showing concerns, which I want to believe they are foreign direct investment into this country, technically, directly or indirectly. So I want to know what would be the way forward as a ministry to ensure that we boost the free trust of this foreign direct investors.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. And this is a very important question because our bulk of our stock in the country is traded through bonded warehouse. That means that the international oil traders will come and deposit their oil stock in the depot and will release these to the local OMCs on their advice as is needed. So this assures continuous supply, and that can only happen when there is trust and confidence. What has happened is unprecedented, and all confidence building measures are being taken. First of which is to assure them that once the balances that are outstanding are reconciled and confirmed by both the GNPC management and them, because as the Gulf Petroleum Management, because what we have is we receive response from them. We need to match those responses with the records of the depot. And once a reconciliation process is completed, we get to the bottom of it, we will ensure that the traders are paid, or in whatever form their fuel stock is either replenished in stock or monetarily otherwise compensated, settled. The fact that the team came from Switzerland to meet us is a clear testimony of the importance. And we want to ensure that as a government, we will stand by all obligations emanating from this as per the outcome of the investigation. And once their obligations are settled, we hope that will be a manifestation of the confidence building and operations will resume as normal. This is just a blip. It's the first time of its kind, and we do not expect a recurrence.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Bogagiro and I work for Kerr.
Okay.
From the statement that you made, I heard you say Pura, they are part of the people that are investigating. So my question is, how can the whether this could be part of an investigation in the fuel sector and yet still have to come back and make a determination. Is that not a conflict of interest? Because we understand that the MD of Pura was involved before being appointed as the MD. He was involved in when he was working for the Pan-African Parliament. He was charged and found guilty of misappropriation. So will that be conflict of interest if he is part of this investigation?
No, I think you are going personal and off the issue at hand here. I mean, and I think as journalists, we should avoid calculated personalization of issues that have nothing to do with what we are doing here. So we are limiting ourselves to the issue at hand, which is the fuel shortage, what actually caused it, what we are doing about it, and the remedial measures.
Yeah, but they are part of the investigation.
But remember, hold on. This is just a task force set up. You know, it's not an investigation to look at the issues. All right, the police are the ones doing the investigation. So I think we need to understand that government has a responsibility to verify whether what we have been told is true. So you go on that verification mission, you have your case, and then you report back to the public, and then now the police will pick from there and then do an investigation. Please.
No, next question.
Next question, madam.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Gallo and I am with Media Post. I have a question. What is the total worth of the fuel missing in Dalasi or dollars?
Well, I think that's a very, very relevant question. And as you can
And
see,
did they pay taxes on the missing fuel?
well, these are very good questions. And as you can see from our press statement, we avoid mentioning any what, because oil is a commodity whose prices are fluctuating on a daily basis. So what the depot is a custodian, and you deposit oil there of X number of liters. When it is missing, the amount of the equivalent that should be restored is that X number of liters. But to monetize it with a moving price target, as is happening in the international market, will be a tall order, because prices as we speak are changing. So prices will be calculated at the time of settlement, but an indicative amount will be off track and will be prejudiced to an outcome, because first step is to determine the exact amount of metric tons or liters. Then that will be translated at the time of settlement. Well, when it comes to taxes issue, that's another dimension which can be looked at. Thank you for your question. Yes.
Yes.
I'm Bakari. I work for the Senegalese media. Maybe the lady put my question, but we would like to have an estimation of that money. If not, maybe not exactly, but an estimation would be good
We don't estimate.
from the government. Please.
What we will do is, on this side, we give you the quantities in metric tons. Yeah, you just Google it, it will tell you.
Okay.
We cannot do, because these are moving prices. It's just like when you are telling stocks. If you say, I have 5 stock of Microsoft, what does it worth? It's as worthy as the closing price of any day. Even during the intraday, the values will change. But what we are focusing on now is the unit quantity of the fuel product that is at stake. I hope that is clear. Yes.
I haven't finished, please.
This is liters. No, we said one question per person. Yes, lady there.
Okay, my question is, will the government carry out a comprehensive audit using independent funds on the past operation of Gampetolreum?
Well, of course, we are conducting our investigations, and this is a very specialized sector. To the extent that informations have not come where we can adequately reconcile and have assurance of our own review, indeed, independent parties will be engaged to determine the full extent of what has happened. That is, all options are on the table to ensure that we get to the bottom of everything, and everything from an expert and sectoral perspective.
Yes. Okay. All right, the one sitting there. Okay.
Considering the liability that government, more governments have to actually find a substantial solution to the issue.
what are the lessons learned by the team that was
You take that answer.
leading the fact-finding mission that could be shared with the media?
Yes.
The lessons learned.
Yeah, that could be shared. I said, considering the difficulties that both governments have to go through to find a short-term solution to this problem, that is the problem with them. What are the lessons learned that the team can share with the media? And then probably that can also help to ensure, once it is published, people can consider such things to ensure that there will be no repetition.
Yes, I think the lessons learned here. We, as the Honorable Minister rightly said, we just have a situation that never right before. Well, not this time around. Maybe it happened maybe in the past or what. But what we've learned is that there's a Gampetolreum, a private sector activity, and there is a shortage. And of course, there may be more depots in the near future. So definitely, we have to. A lesson learned is to have to look at our policy mechanisms to see how we make sure that these things don't happen again. So whatever is happening now is a lesson we are learning from to see. I'm talking about the policy perspective from the Minister of Petroleum. We use it to strengthen our regulatory mechanism and a policy mechanism to see that these things don't happen again. But definitely, industry like this thing is a lot of things happen once in a while. Definitely happens many times in many places also. But then for us, we are taking this as an opportunity also to use every step or every investigation that happens, the result of that, to make sure that we also use it to strengthen our policy and regulatory mechanism. So everything is a lesson to be learned.
Yes. Sisa, can you
Yes, any other question? Yes.
My name is Abdullah. I work with the My question is, we have seen a shortage of so-called police investigations.
We have what?
So we have seen a shortage of so-called police investigations
Uh-huh.
in conduct that actually never come to public space or light.
Mhm.
What assurances can you give that this time around the regulations will act on these investigations? In fact,
Investigation is investigation. Well, let me say that investigations are always sometimes very complex, and you have to also look at the issue at hand, the complexity of what is being investigated, and ensure that the work is done properly. It is also not any any use to anybody that you do an investigation and you don't do a proper job. So that is why it is always important that, investigations are done properly. And also it is not necessarily right to say that we have seen investigations in this country and nothing came out of it. I think, of all the police investigations that have been conducted, many of them were published, people were charged, some of them were taken to court, and also, recommendations were also done in some cases to discipline or whatever.
can you give us instances as to the best of your knowledge besides
The fisheries investigation was one. I mean, no, but the passport also, they are all open court cases that you can go and find out what the outcome of those investigations through court proceedings. No, cases like what?
The drug case is still missing.
Of course, but the drug case is still being investigated.
That is among many others,
Can we have another
I
question,
think
please? Yes.
No. Okay.
Yes.
No. Don't give him.
I will ask this question. So, we understand that, let me just read out the question so that you understand. How can the government give the procurement contract to supply fuel where he has zero knowledge about or experience?
No, that is judgmental. We cannot answer that. No, hold on. No, but hold on, Gajigo. No, hold on, Gajigo. Hold on, please. You and I have no knowledge about whether this man has any knowledge about fuel.
Not a petrol dealer. That's why I
But do you know how people are licensed to get, licensed to be in petroleum? Do you know? No, but you are questioning the character. No, hold on. This is a government press conference to clarify. We are not here to question the character of people.
Yeah, but
There
the
is a
government-
police, hold on, please. There is a police investigation. All right? The investigation is ongoing. You want me to answer about something that is currently under investigation to the point that you are questioning the character of people. We cannot do that here. That's what I'm telling you. Because everybody who is given a license, you go through a due process in this country.
What is the process that you have taken to award it?
To award what? There was a tender process. That's what you. I mean, as a journalist, you should always educate yourself.
I don't even finish my question.
No, you as a journalist, you should always invest. You should always educate yourself. Can we go to the next section, please? No. Yes, madam, please. Journalists should always educate themselves about processes before you come out to ask those things, because that's why we are here. That's why we are here. Madam, can you ask your question?
Okay, I am also and I work with Pan TV Gambia. When should we expect the normalization of import directly from suppliers to move away from overland suppliers or depending on emergency suppliers, which are sustainable? And
Yes.
is there any guarantee that the major suppliers will get paid for their stock taken from the depots to get the resumed businesses? Will the government take responsibility for any default payment?
Well, okay. Well, for the government responsibility, that I'm not able to tell you, right? But for measures we are taking to make sure that we come back to that has already started, because immediately the district came out, we engaged the OMCs, and we continue. Even this morning before you came, we are meeting with them. You know, with the oil marketing companies, we're meeting with them. That day, the meeting ended before you people came in. So, and we also use our national carrier, the GNPC, to come in. So definitely the measures are there. We have started on that, and we continue with that. We are dealing with the private sector, you know. So definitely we have to work together to make sure that it's a situation that we all find ourselves in, and definitely we are working together to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You see?
Yes. On that point of government liability, we will clarify that Gampetolreum is a private limited liability company, and the board is tasked with ensuring full settlement of obligations arising therefrom.
So the board pays the
Oh yeah, the company. No, it's a private limit. You see, let me just explain. Why government has moved into this space is because national security and economic interest is at stake. Otherwise, this could have been just any private company folding, and it will be for a matter of the shareholders and the investors of that company to deal with it. But because it's in a sector that's so central to the economy, that's why government moved in. Otherwise, it's a purely private limited liability company. I hope that clarifies.
And
Yes.
let me add also,
Yes.
any company has a license to import, you can import here. Nobody is stopped from importation. Anybody can import. You don't have it, that's not whatever. And
You don't need a knowledge.
No. It's just about getting a supply, and you want to have a license to operate, you can import. Even today, you can import.
Yeah.
So overland importation it only comes in when there are shortages. And let me also tell you, overland importation is not this is the first time. It happened when stocks are low and we find it necessary to we do that.
You are not answering my question. So
Excuse me.
Yeah, madam, you've asked a question. Who has not asked a question?
It's very simple. Whether there was a CCTV where you had your stock in place, and if yes, we have any
Yes.
evidence.
That's operational
But,
matter.
but very good. I think this is part of the recommendations that will come out of this whole review. Because if everything was normal, the stock out could not have happened. The fact that it happened means that there were lapses. And the outcome of this is to address those anomalies once and for all. Thank you.
Yes, yes, there. Please. Can you, lady? Yes, please. Please, stop obstructing the process. Can you ask your question, please?
Wasn't there any poor reserve that people could have used?
Well, I think that is the whole issue. That's why they call it the security stock. the security stock is there. That is what you actually
Fall on.
That's what the on accounted for. The security stock. There's only a security stock of I think 8 days all the time. So that's not pumped out.
How are we doing on time?
So if that is gone, that's what creates the crisis. You can get stock low, but then that stock is you don't touch that until it replenishes. So when that stock goes out now, that creates the crisis. But there is always they call the security stock that is there.
No, I mean we're giving chance to those who have not asked.
Nobody have any more questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Can I ask? Okay, so if you mentioned that, okay, the missing oil, do they pay taxes on this? If oil is being moved out of the depot.
Okay.
So is the
I'll
GRA aware? I mean, if they pay taxes, GRA would be aware that the oil is out, right?
Well, I think that's a question that is all being reviewed because there were two. This is a flow situation.
Okay.
The oil comes into the tanker, it is stocked there, and it moves.
Okay.
Once it is in the tanker, it does not attract, obviously, because it's a bonded warehouse.
Okay.
But the moment it leaves the depot, then taxation implications, as you are asking, arise.
Okay.
So the fact that we have not received any statement to even say what has gone where, it will be very prejudiced for us to say how the taxes were accounted for otherwise. The first step is to establish exactly what is missing, where it went, and how it left. So we excuse us for that, but I hope you follow the logic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.